You've got to be the change you want to see, whatever that is in the world. You've got to be that or help that happen. And these folks have been doing it for so long. It's been a pleasure to work with them many, many times. I want to welcome my guest, Deborah Barnes-Beyers, who is here from Peace Education Program, and also Carrie Christensen from Peace Education Program. Thank you for coming today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So let's get started. Peace Education Program. You know, I was trying to think, gosh, how long have they been around? Because I know I've worked with you, it seems like at least for 15 years. How long have you been around? Who wants to jump in first, and what do you do?
Well, I can start. Peace Education's been teaching young people and the adults who work with them to build and sustain positive relationships in this city for almost 4 decades.
Gosh.
I've only been there 2 of those decades, but it's happened for 4. And what we really focus on is giving young people the skills to de-escalate conflict, to be assertive in the face of conflict, to understand that when their feelings are high, their thinking is low. Give them flexibility around how conflict works in their lives. And with the demonstrations happening against racism and police brutality, we see those are being led by young people. So for us, this is very exciting. It's the combination of individual conflict resolution skills and then the systemic change that has to happen so that those skills can be used in a safe community.
Actually, we all need a little bit of that. I mean, even adults. So you said when your what is high?
So when your emotions are
high,
your thinking is low.
Right.
And if we have one mantra we teach to the young people, that's it. And you know, sometimes people try to get your emotions high. So
on purpose.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And we talk a lot about de-escalation, but there's a lot of people who are very good at escalation, right? And so you've got to be aware of that. You've got to know that your brain doesn't think clearly when it's clouded with emotion, and that if you have calming strategies, you have a much better chance to come up with an assertive way to handle that conflict than if you were deep in your emotions or in your feelings, as they say.
You know, and something else in our world different today maybe than when we were growing up. People try to drag me into that on Facebook. You know, they say terrible things, or emails, they say just absolutely terrible things. And I just kind of always laugh and say, well, I know who I am, I know whose I am, so you can't make me into that. But that's hard. It's a skill you have to practice. Deborah, for you, what's one of the most amazing things you've seen working in this program?
Well, I work with a program called Pivot to Peace, which is a program for victims of violence. And utilizing the programs and the training that Peace Ed offers, because all of my staff have been trained, I have been trained, I've actually been in relationship with Peace Education for about 25 years. And I know that it works. I've seen it work. And in the training, I've seen the training bring people from one place to another. Like they might be stuck in their thought process or their mindset, but you know, the training transitions them actually within 3 days in the way they think about racism and oppression and just their, you know, sisters and brothers and the diversity that might be in the room.
We are humankind, but we are not always humans that are kind, and so that takes work, and it also takes money for this work. I know oftentimes I'm there when you all are trying to raise funds for that. What help do you need? What can we do as a community?
Well, one of the things we're really hoping is that as we shift our focus to funding community programs that are at the front end of conflict, right? Like
before it happens.
Before it happens. I mean, that's the secret to conflict resolution. The higher a conflict escalates, the harder it is to de-escalate it. So if you do it at the very beginning, giving people what they need. And so in terms of funding for us, I know on my side of things, you know, we get a lot of funding to teach young people to be peer mediators. We get funding for our Peacecasters program so that they make positive social media. So we need funding for those kind of things so that we're at the front end. Right, and so that we're changing the community through the young people and what they can do. And I'm going to let Ms. Deborah talk about how Pivot can get helped.
And I work with a program for gunshot stab victims that and those who live in high opportunities of violence. And so we work right now, we have a caseload of 24 people, and they have all been injured. And that can often be a life-changing opportunity. I wouldn't say opportunity, but a life-changing event. And, you know, I had prepared to talk about what violence is. And violence is more than physical harm or being injured by a weapon. Violence is also the lack of access to basic needs such as food, housing, employment, access to transportation. And often the people who come into my program are actually on the lower level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And when we talk about violence, you know, I want to say, you know, on America's family tree, violence continues to show over and over again. You know, as in America's history, violence is, you know, robbing and the violence against the American Indians. It's the kidnapping and enslaving of Africans. It's, you know, Jim Crow, oppression, and racism. So, you know, the participants in our program are dealing with all of that. And so, you know, we work very hard to help them to keep a positive attitude and try to function to the best of their ability. You know, like the CDC says that violence is a health issue and it is a learned behavior. So, and it can be unlearned. And, you know, so we work and try to help them to realize that they don't have to respond to every act of violence towards them, that sometimes there are different methodologies or different ways that they can respond to these things. And sometimes, Carrie's son says, sometimes you just don't say anything, you know.
And that doesn't make you weak, right? A lot
Right.
of us think if we're not lashing out and in your face and that we're being weak, it doesn't make you weak.
Right.
All right. We've only got a few seconds here. Can someone become part of this if they want to help or if they want to learn the skills? I know it's done a lot in schools. How do they get in touch with you?
Well, the best way is through the website. I think you're seeing peaceeducationprogram.org. And we do a lot of work through Jefferson County Public Schools. We get a lot of our clients through Deborah's program, through word of mouth, but reach out to us. Our website is rich. It's got a lot going on there. Give us a call if you need to, although we're not at the office.
Not right now. We understand.
Still check our messages.
It's okay. Everybody understands. I thank you for what you do and thank you for coming in today.